There's one power, invisible, and you see it everywhere and every day. One power, indescribable, and you speak of it with every word you say. Mysterious until you know the truth. As simple as the love inside of you. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, angels' wings or heaven's door. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? It's the power of the love in you and me. One power, one power, one power, one power. We speak so many languages, different clothing, different colors, different names. The different is only dangerous when we forget that in the heart we're all the same. And we'll remember once we close our eyes to see that such distances were never meant to be. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, Hashem or heaven's door. It's Muhammad, it's your mind, it's your soul, or it's your sign. It's the universe, it's music, Mother Earth or Father Time. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? Whatever name you give it, it's the very air we breathe. Oh, it's the power of the love in you and me. One power, oh, one power is what we are. One power, one power. It's the freedom of forgiveness. It's the sweetness of release. It's the joy of inspiration. It's the sunshine on your face. It's the birthright of all nations. It's the boundlessness of space. It's the beauty of a baby, the serenity of sleep. It's the anger we abandon for its love that's most deep. It's one power. It's one power. What we are is one power. It's the power of the love that lives forever in you and me. It's the power of the love in you and me.
Greetings of peace and a very warm welcome to all. I'm Dimple, your host for this program, bringing to you yet another session of self-development from Meditation Cafe. This is part 3 of the Healing Heart and Soul workshop series, and the title is How to Heal Stuck Emotions. Very interesting title, Stuck Emotions. I think at one point we all are in this. So it gives you a gentle guide to regaining our natural flow again. So not to worry, this is the third part, yes, but if you have missed the previous workshops, you can catch them on YouTube. Also, this session is not dependent on the previous sessions. So if you're joining us for the first time, most welcome. You won't miss anything. Yeah. Also, have some writing materials. Is someone's microphone on, I think? Okay. All right. So have some writing materials ready, as you may have questions, a lot of them along the way. So you can write them down, jot them down so that you don't forget them. And do take active part and full benefit from them and from this workshop, and feel free to unmute yourself, not now, during the talk, and ask questions along the way, or you could even post them in the chat box. So coming to the speaker, Masana De Souza. We have had her for the past 2 workshops. So she has a very extensive background in coaching, counseling, facilitation, mediation, and training. She has a first degree in social work and psychology and a master's degree in social policy and planning, and a nursing career of 50 years. So she has been studying and teaching Raja Yoga meditation at Global Corporation House in London for the past 20 years. She's also a facilitator for values in healthcare and has a warm and engaging manner with which reflects, lights, and deeper compassion for people. She really loves working with people, and coming from different backgrounds gives her all that experience, so much to share. So she offers talks, workshops, retreats on personal and spiritual development, and an intuitive facilitator for the art of authentic and non-violent communication. So with so much experience and such a rich background, we are fortunate to have her again for the third time, last part of the series, but I believe it's not the last. There's a lot more to come. We are honored to have her again. Over to you, sister.
Om Shanti, greetings of peace, greetings of love to each and every one. And thank you, Sister Dimple, for that wonderful overview and warm introduction. It is deeply my pleasure and gratitude to be with all of you today. Some of you, it's the evening. For me in London, it's early morning. And wherever we are on the planet, it's okay. We're in the accurate spot, the accurate place in this moment. And the third session, which, yes, if you're joining for the first time, it's accurate in the drama. And what we're going to explore today is how to heal stuck emotions, a gentle guide to regaining our natural flow again. So I'm going to be sharing tools that are going to help us to understand ourselves more, our true self, our spiritual being, eternal within this physical body. However, trapped emotions, and think of the word emotions, write it as E dash, and put a capital E dash motions. So hopefully you've all got your notebooks and colored pens. And then under that put, under the E, energy in motion. And I'd like you to think about that and experiment with that in the session and throughout the day during your life, that energy, everything is energy on planet Earth, within the body, within anything that you look at this moment. Even if you're on a laptop or a phone, you cannot see the molecules moving. Everything is in motion. And so trapped emotions is when we have trapped energy of those negative feelings. And we're going to explore that more. And so they accumulate and they're unprocessed and unresolved. And they're trapped in the subconscious mind of who you truly are as a soul. And I don't know that they're there until I am triggered by something external, either by what somebody says or doesn't say. So expectations, and please make a note of some of these spiritual wisdom that you can reflect on at another time. So maybe on a separate page, write spiritual wisdom. And one of them is expectations guarantee disappointment. Don't take my word for it, experiment for yourself. And so when these feelings get stuck in the subconscious, I'm not aware of them until I'm triggered. And we're going to do some inner work on reflecting what are my triggers and how can I transform stuck emotions. And yet, the true self, who you truly are as an authentic being, wishes to express itself, but the false self, those false negative beliefs, trap me back into that conundrum. It's like that, I love this word, discombobulated, where I've forgotten who I truly am, and I'm stuck in the past of negative thoughts and feelings. And these stuck emotions, energy in motion, can cause stagnation of the spirit of who I truly am. And also, because the soul residing in the center of the forehead, separate from the body is the first costume of who I truly am. And when it gets stuck, and these emotions are underground in the subconscious and then at times bubble up like a volcano, triggered by my false negative beliefs that are coming into my mind that create negative attitude, that when I'm triggered by a situation or expectation of another that isn't fulfilled by the other, because the only one that can fulfill my pure desires is self. And so this is all about inner work, inner awareness, inner self. And as I become stronger inside, like that beautiful video song that we heard earlier, One Power, unlimited healing, unconditional love, which encompasses compassion, gentleness, caring, sharing, generosity of spirit. So not the old worldview of love as romantic love, Valentine's, or Hollywood, Bollywood, here today, gone tomorrow. No, that's all temporary. That's illusion. What we're exploring is the true, pure energy of love that we can take directly from Supreme Soul, from God, and also is within us, underneath the garbage, underneath the waste within. So I'm going to share a few tools that can be useful, and then we're going to go deeper into rediscovering and reclaiming your inner true self. And I'm going to give you a couple more sayings that can be useful, so put it under spiritual wisdom. And maybe this could be typed in the chat as well, Maybe May could type it, or someone else that could help with that. If I always do what I've always done, I will always get the same result. So if I would like something different, then do something different. And as we move and progress on this spiritual journey, then change the do into be, because we are spiritual beings. At this time in the old world, we've been conditioned and socialized to be human doings. Rush, 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 stress, stress, stress. And this is about slowing down, connecting with your authentic self. Okay, I'll share some others as we move along. And so I'm going to share a slide, and the one I'd like to share first. No, sorry, it's not that one. Let's go back. Beautiful heart again. Yes, the heart of the soul. Maybe draw a picture of this heart within. Sorry, I meant it to be at the top. So the transformative power of love. And so this will help some of you to catch up if you haven't been before to one of these sessions, or to a reminder. So pure love is stronger than fear. It's essential at this critical time for the whole of the humanity. And this is a lovely picture of diversity of humanity in the world. We're one world family, and it's what is needed by everyone at this time for deep healing. So to be authentic, and you can take a screenshot of this or make a note of it, listen to your spiritual heart with attention. So when I refer to the spiritual heart, I am referring to within the soul, in the conscious mind. Every thought is generated from the conscious mind, which then generates a feeling and intention. So when you are listening within, you're listening to where there is pain or sorrow or fear, and also learning how to understand it, support yourself like a nurturing parent with your inner child when in pain, and to be able to have compassion and use these spiritual tools to transform the fear back into self-care, self-love, compassion, so that the heart of the soul begins to heal. And as I start to heal, then my attitude and vibration from within is transformative and colors the atmosphere between myself and others. So they too can step into that more peaceful, caring atmosphere. So listening within is critical. And then I learn how to listen with an open heart and open mind to others. Be true to self. So this is a deep one. This is one you can carry into your daily meditation, your daily reflection. Who am I really? It's an ongoing discovery of reclaiming who you truly are. And we will continue this journey, this session. Speak when moved to speak. So this is the deeper inner world, where it's not the superficial conversations of the weather or complaining. It's actually speaking from your deep inner wisdom. Are you aware that you are a wise soul? At times it gets covered by the debris, the garbage of the fear, the negative thoughts, the negative false beliefs. Make a note of that. We'll refer to that in a little while. Respect yourself and others. I can't respect anybody else until I respect myself. Be compassionate with self and others. And the more that I practice being authentic in my inner communication, my communication with God, the divine, then I am going to be more honest with respect to others. And this is very important. The listening is very valuable. And the results of this, in my experience, I have more integrity, more transparency, and more accountability. The opposite of what we often see on the world stage when we listen to the news and perhaps some of the world leaders. So the more each of us practice being authentic. So we're going to also be aware of moving from fear and the acronym false evidence appearing real, virtual reality. Check it out for yourself. Most fears, by the end of the day, after stress, anxiety, worry, have they actually materialized? No. Yet the body is full of tension and pain, and the mind is exhausted. So I need to be able to, during the day, become aware of when anxiety or stress first manifests in a part of the body. I suggest the body is a body barometer. Whatever is going on in the mind of the soul and in the heart of the soul, the feelings, it will trigger the body to go into stress mode. Some, it's the stomach contracting, then you know what is released. The heart palpitations, or can't catch my breath, or the shoulders going up, or the backache, the headache. So catch yourself whenever that stress is happening and redirect it. Be kind to self, be compassionate to self. So we're moving from fear to the flow. And an acronym, you can create your own. One that I've created is face it. So face what's going on inside. Be honest with yourself. Be gentle with yourself. See where you're holding on to something that no longer serves you well. Let it go. Become the gentle, detached, compassionate observer of your thoughts, your feelings, and check and change. Move from the negative to something that you have gratitude for, or remind yourself who you truly are, that you are a wise soul, you're a gentle soul, you're an honest soul. And then the willpower. Through meditation, the powers will continue to increase. So we're going to be dreaming without fear. You're a visionary. You are a creative being. So can you start to create in your mind rather than what I can't do, and transform it into yes, I can, and using the power of courage. Courage, the old French word, means the heart. So again, it connects back with the power of love. Love without limits. So that's loving yourself without the judgments, without the criticism, without the negative put downs. And when you are being kind and generous to self, that's the most healing power. So love is the gift of self and compassionate listening. So we will explore that a little later. I'd like to go on to and do, is there any questions so far? Otherwise, I'm going to continue. And I'm going to introduce what I introduced last time. And it's a very powerful tool to use, nonviolent communication, which actually is the language of the heart. Let's take this off. And Marshall Rosenberg is the one that created this language, and it's used around the world. I've been practicing it for many years. It incorporates, we've already had the authentic communication. So the definition of nonviolent communication is a way of thinking, speaking, and acting that contributes to mutual connection and cooperation. So it's what is alive within myself energetically, the thoughts, the feelings, and to be able to create powerful connections with another through that energetic listening, deep, compassionate listening. So spiritual vision and practice. So we need to continue to deepen our spiritual practice in nonviolent communication. Nonviolent communication, and NVC is the shortened version of it. In NVC worldview, everyone's needs and feelings matter. So absorb that for a moment. Your needs matter, your feelings matter, and needs are universal human values, and we'll explore what they are in a moment. And everybody else's does too. So I first need to keep taking care of my own before I can then listen with no filters, with no judgment. Listen to underneath what someone is saying, that their needs and feelings are. Always self first. This I find very powerful. Every criticism, judgment, and expression of anger is the tragic expression of an unmet need. That's a very different way to look at anger, yes? Under the anger is the tragic expression of an unmet need and negative feelings and the fear, the false evidence appearing real. So perhaps Sister May or Sister Dimple, you can put that link again for nonviolent communication that I sent last time in the chat, so that there is a larger vocabulary of all the negative and positive feelings that you can download, and also the met and unmet needs. So these will be very useful. I suggest that you make a copy of them and keep it on your phone, and also print out a list that you can look at any time, because they will help you to dive deep into where the wound of the heart of you, the soul, is that's blocking you from being in the essence, in this unconditional love, which manifests as happiness, contentment, peaceful joy, light. Whereas when I'm trapped in the fear, the false evidence appearing real, sad, angry, scared, worried, and there are many other negative feelings. So the universal human values, the needs, there are many needs that refer to both the physical body, the emotions, the mental, and the spiritual well-being. However, the 5 main ones that I observe within myself and when I'm supporting others, and check it for yourself: a need to feel safe, a need to be listened to, a need to be understood, a need to be respected, and a need to be accepted. So these are ones, when you keep these in your awareness, you can check at any time when you're feeling down or worried, or you feel like you're in the dark night of the soul. Ask yourself, what do I need right now? Do I need to listen to myself more? Do I need to connect with the divine, supreme soul, with God? to listen to guidance. Before I can listen to anyone else, I need to have that open channel to myself. Am I understanding myself? Am I understanding why I'm sabotaging myself, or why I'm stuck in this place of indiscipline or laziness or carelessness? Because when I understand it, then I can make effort to change that. But I first need to go to the root of where the blockage is. And then can I accept myself with dignity, with respect and love? So these are some powerful questions that I'm offering to you to use at different times. I'm going to move to this. So if you draw two big circles and they interconnect in the center, what we are looking at and aiming for is identifying what your need is. It's got what you want here, and I'd like you to change that to what you need. And the more that you focus on that, and we're going to explore some more of that during this session, then you come back into your authentic self to be able to speak your truth. And then if it's maybe a breakdown in communication relationship with another, once you've identified your need and looking after it and looking after your own feelings with love and gentleness and care, then you can start to listen without judgment, with an open heart and open mind to what is the other person's unmet need and feeling. It's not that you're trying to sort them out or give them the answer. What you're generating is authentic communication between you through deep listening and one person at a time speaking. And then you gain a win-win, a solution that can benefit both. You can equally do this with yourself, your inner self. Really have a conversation with your inner self to understand where the block is and what you can bring to transform it. I'm going to leave that for now. We might come, okay, well, since it's here, I'm going to use it. There is the drama triangle. Some of you may be familiar with transactional analysis. It's a form of humanistic psychology. However, you don't need to read the book or study it all. You can if you choose. However, one of the tools that I find very useful is the drama triangle. And to be aware that at different times, I go into these external labels and roles. So at times, if I'm in the dark night of the soul and I'm feeling overwhelmed by fear and distress and sadness, I might fall into the trap of thinking I am a victim. That's not who I truly am. I'm a sparkling soul. I am love. I am kindness. I am peace. I have access to eternal wisdom, eternal truth. However, if circumstances in the past or in the present are causing me to feel I'm a victim, then I feel I'm not okay. And I feel powerless. And this spiritual journey is guiding me how to take back my true sense of self and use spiritual powers to transform from the false negative belief I'm a victim and I'm not okay, to come back into being assertive and nurturing. And it's okay to be vulnerable, because in my experience, to be vulnerable takes great courage to be authentic and honest with myself. And then I become more nurturing of myself, nurturing of the inner child within. And then I can choose a way of being that is coming from that inner power of authenticity to express my views, if that is what's needed at the time, or to have a little talk with myself, moving from being the inner critic, the persecutor is the inner critic, and the judger, and then I judge others, and that becomes negative. And now learning how to become the inner coach, my best friend. So this is part of this transformation, this healing. Be aware of when getting trapped in being the rescuer, thinking I'm okay and I need to rescue somebody else, because then I can get drained, because I keep on giving extra and extra attention to somebody who's saying I'm not okay. And what happens? The victim becomes strong again and can be a persecutor and then judge the rescuer. Meanwhile, be aware in yourself. Are you in burnout? Are you one with the beautiful big heart? That's wonderful. However, do you often give and give to others and become exhausted mentally, physically, and emotionally? So again, this is all about self-care. Because when I become strong and resilient inside, using meditation, using these tools, having these inner coach, best friend conversations with self, then I will be alert, aware, and attentive of where I'm giving away my energy and I'm losing my inner balance. So this is the triangle to keep focusing on, to be nurturing with self. So I'm going to 8 tips for mastering compassionate communication. So you're being authentic with yourself. I'd like you to also see this as, first of all, compassionate communication with yourself. Listen to yourself. Take the awareness of what feelings you have, needs, and take care of them. Then you can transfer this to when you listen to others, because we live in a physical world, we live in a walkie-talkie world, and different people, be them our nearest and dearest, family, friends, colleagues, neighbors, or anyone else that's part of the world family, can come in front of us and we can get triggered. And so in order to listen to myself more, I can now learn how to listen to another without getting caught up in the judgment, in the story. So that the aim is to create a bridge of connection, of more understanding, more compassion between self and another. I cannot change anybody else. However, I can change myself through my attitude, my behavior. So I've mentioned quite a few tools, and I'd like to add a couple of other under the spiritual wisdom that you can reflect on. I don't, and this could be put in the chat as well. I don't know what I don't know that I don't know until I do. It's a wonderful conundrum. I don't know what I don't know that I don't know until I do. And this, when I began to unpack what on earth does that mean, we have within the soul the 3 faculties: the conscious mind, where I create every thought, every feeling, every intention. And the more that I learn to slow down the thoughts and feelings as the gentle, compassionate, detached observer of self, then I become more aware of what's going on within me. However, I also have a subconscious mind. And in the subconscious mind are all my memories, the ones that I've forgotten, and also both my positive and negative personality traits. The positive ones keep on harnessing. However, the negative ones are the ones that I maybe have repressed, suppressed, and depressed. And gradually, with using the tools of meditation, self-reflection, having these conversations with self, I rediscover and reclaim what is true and what is false. So another powerful question every now and then to ask yourself when you are feeling stuck and feeling you're in the dark night of the soul is to ask yourself, is it true? Is it always true? So for instance, maybe a family member, or you were in the workplace and in a meeting and someone criticized you and said something negative about you. Then ask yourself quietly when you go away to do your inner work, is it true what they said, that I'm always late, or I'm always lazy, or I'm always inconsiderate? And it may have been in that moment that I was a little late. Okay, I can accept that with dignity. I can apologize and then move on. However, if someone is telling me, Masana, you are always late, then I ask myself, is that always true? No. So I'm not going to take sorrow from somebody else's perception of me, because I realize that's coming from them. Whatever somebody says, it's coming from their mind. So first, it's a reflection of themselves. And when I really realize that and step back, becoming that gentle, compassionate, detached observer, I begin to learn and choose. Choose is a very elevated word rather than trying. I choose to redirect my attention. I choose no longer to take sorrow from other people's opinions of me, because we've all been conditioned from babyhood upwards to take on other people's opinions of us. If they flatter us and compliment us, oh, we feel great, and the ego gets inflated, which is false illusion. Or if I hear somebody criticizing me from as a child, the parent or the caregiver or the teacher, that gets ingrained in the memory tract of the subconscious mind of who I truly am. It's false though. And then I keep repeating either that I'm lazy because a teacher told me I'm lazy, or a parent told me I'm careless. And the more I repeat it, the stronger that false negative belief becomes. So these questions of, is it true? It may be true in the moment. I was careless or I was lazy. Okay, check and change. Be authentic. Take responsibility for where I made a mistake. Let it go. However, do not take the sorrow and lodge it in the heart of the soul and believe it's always true. Okay. So I see a question coming up. Let's see if so the question is, how can I avoid thinking negative thoughts and negative emotions? Okay, so it's a great question, and that's what we're exploring. So first, I need to recognize when a negative thought, a negative feeling, emotion energy, emotion is coming up, and sit with myself. Make a note of it. What is the unmet need? Is it a need to be listened to, understood? Is it that I don't feel respected, that I don't feel safe? So first check it out. Then decide, is it true or is it false? What is triggering it? Be kind to self, be gentle to self. And then gradually that will melt away. But I do need to go under to identify, and everybody in your notebook have 2 pages, blank pages. On the top left, put negative false beliefs as your heading in big capital letters, underline it. And on the adjoining page, the heading, put positive affirmations, the language of the heart. Okay. So negative false beliefs, there are many, and for homework, keep on adding to the list of the negative. So a common one is, I am not valuable. So the way of transforming this into a positive affirmation is, you take out the negative words, keep it in the present. I am valuable. So you write that parallel underneath the positive affirmation. I'll give one more example, and then I see Kim has her hand raised. So let me just give one more example. I am not lovable. Again, take out the negative words, keep it in the present, and it will become, I am love, because that's one of our original eternal spiritual qualities. So every time that negative feeling comes up, you check which false negative belief is playing in the background of the subconscious mind. Identify it, then transform it. And at the beginning, it will feel artificial. If I feel I'm not lovable and I'm saying, I am love. However, you are becoming more aware this is your true identity. So with practice, it will become, again, part of who you are. Okay, so Kim, you have your hand up. Would you like to unmute? Do you have a question you would like to ask?
Yes, thank you. On your 2 or 3 slides, number 1, you started with listen with your heart, with compassion. So when you listen with compassion, you're focusing on kindness. You're not talking about who is right, who is wrong, because every soul is on its own private journey. All right. However, then I look at the triangle. On the triangle, there's drama. So when a person is on the journey and under much duress, so you feel blessed that you're able to give. All right. But then when you are vulnerable, as an observer, you could, at the point of being vulnerable, become reactive. And when you can't be reactive, emotionally, you are traumatized to some extent. So when I look at observer, the other slide, as you observe, before you know it, you are tearing up, right? So you are being reactive because you're at your lowest point. You say vulnerable. So how do we navigate? Because sometimes you are at, do I have my brown boundary? That's not very kind. So do I just listen as a compassionate listener with my heart? That is the best solution. I mean, love, listen with love. However, as you observe, there could be collective karma, there could be ancestral karma, something that you don't understand, you don't even want to know why. So that shadow part of you is actually taking center stage. So how do we navigate being, our path of being to the next spot? Thank you very much.
Okay, you have shared quite a lot of insight. I would imagine you've been to some of the other sessions and also meditate and are using the spiritual knowledge. And so, yes, I agree with what you've shared. And for me, it's some of the other spiritual powers, the spiritual godly powers that I need to imbibe and use in meditation and then put into practice in my daily life. Yet I need to power up with them in the early morning, so I have easier access to them. They are stored in the intellect of one of the faculties within I, the soul, the eternal being. And patience, tolerance. So the more that I understand the power of tolerance, the power to adjust, the power to be flexible, to understand that each human being, human refers to the body, being refers to the eternal spiritual being, that each human being is on their own journey with their own karmic accounts, with their own his and her story, all the background of what I am not aware of. So every person is colored by all of the different experiences that they've had in this life and the past lives. And at times, that gets in the way energetically of a pure connection between the other and self. Equally, I am still on a journey of rediscovering, reclaiming, rehealing myself, because everything has become fragmented. And I am now learning how to bring the truth back into my awareness and let go of the false. And so always looking after self first, and when I have more compassion for myself, when I am more patient and tolerant, that I'm not going to change instantly. However, with practice, with discipline, I am healing and transforming. Can I give that same awareness and tolerance and patience for another? Because the only one I can change is self. I can't change anybody else, no matter how much I would like to change either the neighbor, one of the family members, or the politician. However, as I change, as I heal, as I transform, then that vibration, higher consciousness of compassion starts to flow back energetically into the atmosphere. So also to use the power to discern. Is this someone that has such fixed, strong opinions and their values are very different from mine? So maybe it's not at this time to seek to have a long conversation with this person, because it may end up with conflict. Maybe to have good wishes for them and to let that go. And so it's all about timing, and to imbibe the power of peace will bring more calmness, more contentment, more clarity of the mind. And then I will discern and decide, is this the time to speak my truth? Is this the time to hold silence? Is this the time to gently and gracefully move away? And maybe at another time, when the person is calmer and I am very calm, we can have an honest conversation with each other. And in the lesson before, I had given some opportunity for practice on how to create an I statement, and it's always first for selves. So I hope that gives some of the answers.
Actually, my focus is vulnerability and observer. So my first challenge will be when, let's say, I talk to you, it's a nice conversation, if you're about peace and uplifting spirituality, then suddenly I'll feel my fingers feeling very numb, and then I'm breathing faster, and I don't understand why. That means I am in trauma. Maybe it's about past life that I cannot control. But then at that stage, if I observe, if I let the emotions come and not mitigate it, then I will be in a reactive mode. My frequency just drop zoop like that, and it's very exhausting. So, however, if I just be observer and just smile and love and whatever I learn, but it's only on a very starter page. you're at a pre-beginner stage. So it's kind of like a balance. So do I let it out or do I just observe? And it's difficult to observe and smile. It takes, I suppose, a couple of days to re-energize. So how do we handle from observer to an unwanted shadow emotion that comes out that you don't even understand why? But I suppose everybody will have their own shadow. So it's how to manage that emotion that creeps up that makes you vulnerable and reactive, which is not a good word. You should be in flow. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. So that's going deeper. It's all about the inner work. Yes. So when I feel I'm being triggered and emotions, negative emotions are overwhelming me, my body is expressing through the tension, then it's a note, it's a signal to do some more inner work. So if I'm in the middle of a meeting, the best thing I can do is take a few deep breaths in and out to stabilize myself, to go quiet, not to react to the person, make a mental note of, right, I'm going to create some quiet, sacred time later. I'm going to unpack what happened in that meeting because it triggered one of my old emotional wounds. And I need to do some more inner work to rediscover, reclaim what the root of that is. So different people at different times actually become, although they appear as challenging, they actually can be my greatest teacher. And I've learned that in my life, particularly with close members of my family. When the challenge comes up, and I would in the past react, how dare you criticize me or get upset or whatever, I would go away and look at more deeply what that trigger is. And I gradually began to realize that other human beings are a mirror to me. And so that takes great inner work to be in that self-respect that I can realize that this person at a soul level is sharing something, magnifying back to me a weakness within me that I don't know that I don't know that I don't know until I do. And it's not very pleasant at the time. It can feel quite uncomfortable. And as you said, I can feel very vulnerable. And under vulnerability is great courage. The old world says vulnerability is being weak. And that's not how I understand it. It actually takes great courage to be honest with myself. I'd like to share a diagram that can help with this, unpack it some more before we do a listening exercise, which I hope you will all like to do. And I need to give me a moment to find the slide that there's another slide that I was looking for. So let me see if it's down below. Ah, yes, here's the slide. It's a very powerful one, and I'm going to explain it. So this is all about inner work, and hopefully it will help. So first of all, recognize who you truly are as a spiritual being, full of love, peace, joy. And when I'm in the pain, when I'm vulnerable, I don't experience that. However, underneath that is all these eternal spiritual qualities. And as I am learning how to meditate and take the power directly from Supreme Soul, from God, from the divine, and if that doesn't settle easily in any of your minds, then your higher self, where everything is in balance, is authentic, with integrity, with unconditional love, compassion. So it could be your higher self, your nurturing self. However, life gets in the way because we live in a physical body, we live in a physical world with 8 billion other souls in bodies, yes? And we can get triggered where our heart wound is. And that will bring up sadness, can feel bad about ourselves, judge ourselves, criticize ourselves. Sadness will have fear and pain and sorrow. And then mad. So we're using the 3 words rhyming, sad, bad, mad. The mad in this sense is when I'm feeling angry. Where do I get angry with myself and sabotage myself and get angry with others? So then the mind becomes chaotic, confused. I become discombobulated. And I start asking questions like, why did they say that? What on earth is happening? Why me? Why did this happen to me? And the who, what, when, where, how questions. So the mind is like a hamster on a wheel going round and round and getting nowhere, yet I'm getting more confused, more upset, more depressed. And it is actually triggering a deeper heart wound that you were referring to earlier, where there are memories, trauma. I suggest that every human being has trauma, every human being, whether or not I'm conscious of it or unconscious of it. And even if I'm not consciously aware, I may not have had trauma, emotional, physical, mental trauma as a child. Many have, because the caregivers, the parents, also carry trauma. And so they bring that through that lens when they are relating to the child. However, even if I haven't experienced trauma in this life, what about the parents, the grandparents, the great-grandparents? Think of those that were in the Second World War. Think of those that generations back experienced slavery. So at the present, trauma is happening all around us. So it is important to understand that trauma is affecting within the unconscious mind of the soul, that then is triggered by life situations in the present. And if I realize I have deep trauma, then do access professional support from a therapist. What I'm offering is a spiritual understanding to this. However, if one needs trauma counseling therapy, then access it. It's important. However, this will help to reveal some more understanding. So when I have all these questions of why did this happen? Why did that person say that? Why did they not turn up? Why did they go out of my life? Why is my body ill? All those questions. I then start to project, because each of us have a lens that we see life through. If I have trauma in my life, when I'm in the dark night of the soul, when I'm in that trauma being reawakened, I project that out onto others. And then I'm surprised when somebody that I maybe have said something that hurt them, either consciously or unconsciously, I'm surprised when they react back at me, or where I feel I'm being very kind and loving to another, and yet they are returning with negativity to me. So now I begin to understand that they too have trauma. They too can feel sad or bad or angry. And it's about not taking that sorrow on. Let's go a bit further. So then each of us learns when we are triggered and we're feeling sad, or we're feeling criticized, or we're criticizing ourselves, or we're angry, and under anger is unmet needs, negative feelings, and there will always be some fear, some false evidence appearing real that is a trigger of the original trauma. So what are some of the ways that we numb our feelings? Would anyone like to unmute? What are some of the habits that we use to numb our feelings? They become addictions. Can put in the chat and then Sister May can read them out. Or you can unmute. Meanwhile, I'm going to put them. So it can be food. So it's that I overeat and I become obese, or I undereat and I have anorexia. So how do I use food to numb my feelings? Or alcohol. So for a little while, it might make me feel relaxed. And then after that, alcohol will have severe damage on the mind, the body, my behavior, and it's an addiction. TV and film. So do I at times just OTT, go overboard with watching violent movies or content that's negative and causes me more pain and sorrow? Or does it just numb me that I'm constantly watching programs that really are not helping me to go deeper into what is the underlying cause of my pain or sorrow? Do I oversleep? Do I use sleep as a way of escaping the pain and sorrow and trauma that's within me? Or a lot of people use retail therapy, yes? So I shop and shop, and then I may end up gambling. Gambling is becoming one of the greatest addictions at this time. So social media and gambling. So make a note of what you do. What is your go-to when you want to numb your feelings? Because all it does is numb it. They're still there. They're still there in the mind. They're still there in registering in the body. And the more that I am stressed and anxious, then that thought then goes to the brain, which is the physical organ, that then sends messages to the adrenal glands, the two glands above the kidneys, which releases the adrenaline and cortisol. And when cortisol and adrenaline is rushing through the body to make the muscles of the body and the heart move faster, when there's a real danger, that is very useful. However, that I am becoming aware that stress is often from the triggers of life that are triggering my pain and sorrow within the mind, that may be trauma as well, that's unresolved. Then constant adrenaline and cortisol rushing through the body is causing damage as well, not only to the mind, to the physical body. Right? Hence why the body, where you have your vulnerable part, remember, check where for you when you're stressed, which part of your body do you feel it first in? For me, it's the stomach. For others, it will be another part. So gradually, if I'm very much on red alert, then I will have damage to the physical body. So that's another clue of where the body is saying we need to stop and look at really what's going on deeper, and what is it that I'm using to numb feelings that are also causing damage. So this is suppression. What I suppress, repress, depress, at some point will become a volcano and jump out at me. So in order to heal these feelings and deep trauma, it's an ongoing process. I need to be courageous, which is the heart, compassionate, gentle, kind with self, patient with self, tolerant with self, and be very honest. And then, as I continue to deepen this union with I, the soul, and with God through regular meditation practice, honest conversations, more self-realizations will come. And then I will begin to accept more. Life is what life is. I cannot change life. I cannot change other people. However, here, when I create this sacred regular space with the divine and myself, I start to heal from inside out. I become more secure. I become more stable. I become more inner confident with self-respect. And so what is over here is when I'm insecure. So to bring it to the essence, I'm either in a place of fear, insecurity, or I'm in a place of unconditional love, compassion, secure. Okay, so if you want to take a screenshot, however, this is all being recorded. I'm going to stop screen sharing now. So I've shared quite a number of different tools, and I thought it would be wonderful to have a listening exercise. And I encourage all of you, obviously, it is free choice. However, I encourage all of you to actually feel the fear and do it anyway. Because remember, if I always do what I've always done, I will always get the same result. So if I want something different, I need to do something different. So we're going to, in a moment, open up breakout rooms, and I'm going to invite that you will go in as a pair, two, and when you go into the breakout room, it's great if you can put your video on, because deep listening, which I'm going to explain, means that you also are listening with the physical ears. You're looking through the physical eyes. You, the soul, are looking out through the eyes, listening with the ears. And when you are present with your face on the screen, then it helps the other as they are sharing something deep within that will remain sacred within that closed breakout room. It will not be shared afterwards. So that trust is there, confidentiality is there. So in a moment, and I'm going to give the question that two people in a room, and the first person will be the speaker, and the second person will be the listener. And listeners, and you all get a chance to swap over and be a speaker and a listener in turn. When you are the listener, please make a note of this. You are staying very quiet, very still in the mind, holding positive attention, listening without judgment to the other, no interruption, no questions. Hold the sacred space with the divine. Speaker, you will speak from your heart, and I'm going to share some questions that you could respond to. And know that you are not, nothing that you share is going to be repeated. And so you share, and that gives you an opportunity, because when you have spoken, sometimes you'll find you go into a bit of silence. And as long as there's enough time, this listener is holding that sacred space. And then you will find there's something deeper beneath the surface of wisdom that will come through from you. So be open to that possibility. And we're going to have 10 minutes, and it will be 4 minutes, up to 3 to 4 minutes of the speaker speaking, the listener holding that sacred space with no interruption. At the end of that time, so listener, you time it up to a maximum of 4 minutes. then a minute of silence, that both of you are in silence, and give thanks for what you've shared from your heart, in your mind, or if you were the listener, give thanks for what you've heard and let it go. At the end of the minute, you swap roles. The listener becomes the second speaker. The speaker becomes the second listener, listens without interruption. 4 minutes, listener times it and listens. And then a minute of silence. And in that last minute, identify what your need and your feeling that you shared. Make a note of it. Okay, so the question, and if anyone doesn't feel comfortable going into a breakout room, we will play some music in the main room, and you can do this as your inner work, yes? However, take the leap of faith and give yourself a chance to have a listening exercise with another, because the benefits are untold, and it's another tool to practice in your life. Okay, so the question that you may like, so make a note of it, and it could be put in the chat as well, please. So one question is, what is important in your life right now? What is important in your life right now? What are the challenges facing you now? What are the challenges facing you now? Which tool are you choosing to use to support you? So I've given you a number of tools. Which tool will support you? So it might be authentic communication. It might be understanding the triggers. It might be nonviolent communication. So identifying the unmet need and the feeling, and then how you can put attention on that. So lots of things for you to explore. And if any of those questions don't resonate, then what's alive in you in this moment? Maybe something's been triggered by what I've been sharing, and that's what you talk about. Okay? So with no more ado, so you've got 10 minutes in the room, and remember 3 to 4 minutes for the speaker, then a minute of silence between you, and then change roles, and at the end identify your need and feeling for your own awareness. Okay, so Sister May, could you maybe create the breakout rooms, and people can indicate whether or not they are staying in the main room or are going to give a chance to listen. Okay, so welcome back, and hopefully you found that quite useful, and it would be lovely for people to share now. What insights, what was it like to be listened to without interruption, even if you were doing it by yourself? Was that helpful to have some questions to take you deeper within? What did you understand from that sharing, either when you were taken the chance to be listened to without interruption? Or what was it like to listen without interrupting? And I gave you a number of options of questions. So what would be really helpful is everyone can benefit from sharing. So anyone like to unmute and share some insights so far? What are you using? What did you discover about yourself where some of the block is? Or you can put it in the chat and then it can be read out by Sister Dimple or Sister May. So time ran out for Joan. Sorry about that. So hopefully you did some reflection on your own. Is there anything you would like to share?
Yes, thank you. Shanti. Yeah, I found the questions quite meaningful and helpful. Yeah, it makes you introspect, doesn't it? And have a look really with the tools to refresh yourself, reform yourself. Yeah, thank you.
Is there any new insight that some light shone on some aspect that maybe had been blocked in the past?
No, I think the emphasis is more for here to do more yoga. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And regular, keep it as a discipline. And sorry, Sister May, that the time wasn't long enough. I would love to give it longer. The listening exercise that many of you chose not to go into a breakout room, and that's, of course, is okay. It's your choice. However, please, as homework, if you really want to deepen your understanding and your inner healing, I really encourage you to find somebody that you trust enough. It might be one of your close friends or a member of your family, and that you set up a weekly listening exercise like I described. I did it for over a year with one person that I trusted, another woman, and we actually did it for half an hour to an hour, one person speaking and the other holding the sacred silence. So all of what was repressed, suppressed within me we did it maybe once a week at the beginning, then moved it to once a month. Whatever I'd accumulated that had been triggered or upset me, I was able to ventilate it and share it, knowing I was not going to be judged. I was not going to be criticized, and that the other person was holding that positive attention. By the time I'd released everything, I felt so much more relaxed, content, and I had insight on where it was some of my negative thought processes that were actually creating or exacerbating the challenge between myself and another, be it with my son or with my sister, where we had at times challenges of different outlooks on life. Now we have such a healed relationship. So I really encourage you to get a practice of active listening using nonviolent communication. Okay, let's go on. Any other questions, insights? Who else would like to unmute? Yes?
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Thank you, sister. You spoke very well about silence, and I found that as a practitioner in my career, I got to listen what my clients are coming up to me. They have lots of problems, a lot of issues, and I got to have that patience. It's a matter of how much of patience you have to listen, because listening is where you find the answers to the questions. If you don't listen, you will make wrong decisions or misleading decisions or decisions that are not in the right frame, or decisions that is not required for that particular questions or problem. So this is the skill. Listening, listening is the skill, and not everyone can master that skill. It needs lots of patience. And after coming into Brahma Kumaris, I found that this is what I needed in my profession. And today, I'm not saying that I'm too good in listening, but I was able to calm myself. I was able to calm myself because of doing some meditation and able to listen. And there you are. I'm able to come up with some very sharp, very good decisions. So decisions are based on how much you listen, and because in the listening skill, you will find the answer there. And that's what I found that, and I'm really thankful. I'm really thankful that, sister, you have rekindled that thought in me, and I'm going to go deeper after this, because that is the answer that I got it from this session, in this evening session. Thank you, sister.
Wonderful. Thank you, Om
Good.
Shanti.
I
Thank
see.
you for that
Yeah,
insightful sharing, both from a professional perspective and a
yeah,
personal level. For me, the art of listening, as
yes,
you say, is very rare. It's
yeah,
a gift to self and a
yes.
gift to the world.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yes,
Sister Dimple has put in the listening, you will find the answer. Yes, because
yes,
the wisdom is there
mm,
underneath all of the surface tension, triggers,
yes.
judgments, criticism. Dive deep.
True.
Ah, that's where
Yes,
the beauty is.
yeah, correct. The answer is there in the silence.
In
So
the silence.
listening is very important too. Many people do not listen. That's the issue. That's the problem, in the society. Lack of listening skills. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm.
So, everyone, do find a listening partner, do practice. It's the way forward for healing self and healing our world. And of course, in the meditation practice and in the silence, maybe you listen to a guided meditation and then go into the silence. Because if you had a question before you went into meditation, when you come out, your mind will be stiller, and the wisdom from within the subconscious mind of the soul will emanate out. You will get the answer. You may not get it immediately. However, over time, it will be revealed to you. Any other questions, observations, any insights that you've gained from this experience? And particularly if anyone who was at the last session, session 2, did you practice with the I statement? What were some of the results? Making a request rather than a demand. Would love to hear.
I just share my experience, if I may be allowed. I was speaking to uh, uh, another being from Kyrgyzstan. Though it's Malaysia to there, I find that we are one. I find that it's a connection. It doesn't matter where you're from or who you are. And from the listening, I don't know, it's a connection of oneness that I'm able to just listen and be with that person. Um, understand the challenges, and there is a calming peace, overlayering, and then as I vocalize, it actually crystallize action plan that makes things clearer. So it's clarity and connection. Thank you.
Wonderful. Well done, Kim. And this is where increase the listening time from a 5 minute without interruption to 10 to 15 to 20 minutes, because in between the person will go into silence, dive deeper, and then more jewels will be revealed. Because once I've spoken on the surface level and go quiet, something else re-emerges. It's about re-emerging, reconnecting, re-healing the discombobulated parts of self that have been separated over many births, yes? And that what I referred to, I think it was in the first lesson, the art of kintsugi, which is the Japanese art of repairing pottery or ceramics that have been broken. And they use gold in the glue to put the broken parts of the vase or the pot together, and it becomes even more exquisite. And so this is what we are doing. We're using the power of the gold of pure love that emanates within the soul under the negative fears, and the pure love from the divine, from God, from Supreme Soul. And so we become even stronger, even more powerful, even more lighter. So the magic of healing, it's an ongoing journey. Anyone else like to share some insight? One of the tools, need more clarity, or what you're experimenting with from lesson 1, lesson 2, would be great to hear.
Shanti.
Shanti.
A wonderful session, actually, and coming right to the heart of the topic, stuck emotions. I had felt, and just sharing a little bit of my experience, if I'm allowed to.
Please do.
I did feel that at one point in my life, I had bottled up or stuck up too many emotions. And I realized it was just throwing and flaring everywhere. And the screen that you just showed, the one word that really helped me a lot was acceptance. And that one word, when I began to realize and, churn around it and go into that deeper, I felt the emotions were not stuck anymore and it started flowing. And this was the beautiful experience. And I felt like, because as what you said, we are feeling, we have a lot of emotions, and noticing that sometimes we are very weak in our emotional quotient. So getting that stuck emotions flowing through acceptance was something that I felt very happy to learn. I learned it, and when I practiced it, I felt it was something wonderful for me. Just sharing. Hope it helps others.
Yes,
Shanti.
I'm sure it will. Shanti. Thank you, Sister Dimple. That's a wonderful example of taking the courage and being vulnerable, being honest, being authentic, and allowing, and then the magic of acceptance. In the whole field of conflict transformation that I've been blessed to work in for many years, I've identified that it's actually the feelings more than anything else. It's not the big long story of exclamation or explanation or judgment of the other that is going to help the two people in conflict or a whole group or team in conflict. It's actually being able to identify one's own feelings and even for a moment step into the shoes of the other. What is it like when they say, I feel embarrassed or I feel ashamed because of X, Y, or Z? When I can have that connection with the other, with an open heart, an open mind, then my vision changes. I begin to see the humanity within the other, because I'm already seeing the humanity within myself. And so here again, some more tips to understand this art of deep, deep listening is what the world needs at this time. Any other questions, observations? We have another minute or so, and then I'm going to share a meditation and we'll play another song.
If it's not too much, if you spend a minute on the mirror effect, I take upon your last quote that you actually it ran out like you're able to feel the humanity of another being mirrored in you. So the mirror, I am like you are angry towards me because I cause it. So the mirror effect. How do I address that? Thank you.
So the mirror effect, it's, yes, if you could mute now, thank you. Oh, Joy is wanting to say something as well, and then I'll refer to the mirror effect. Joy, apparently you've unmuted. Would you like to speak?
Yes. Sometimes in the practice of meditation, we have also, at the same time, if we can just practice what you have, there's a practice listening and seeing and be silent, listen. In the silence, when you listen, you'll be able to hear a lot of things. Just be silent and don't even ask, for any favor or any prayer. Just be silent and enjoy the silence and listen. Listen and listen. Thanks. Thank you.
Beautiful, powerful, deep, deep art of listening, diving deep into the ocean of unlimited silence. All the answers are there. Okay, so the mirror effect. Those of you that are following and studying, obviously everything is free will, free choice. However, if you are diving deep into Raj Yoga meditation practice and listening to Murli every day, then you know that Baba says, as a new child, I give you a hand mirror. Because Baba says, look into the mirror of your own heart. And so that very much coincides with that deep dive into the ocean of silence. However, another person can be a mirror. So when some of you found yourself in a room, in the breakout room with someone you didn't know, actually you found you maybe had quite a bit in common, or something that the other person shared that was a gem of wisdom that you could reflect on for yourself. So that was in a positive, enhancing, safe space. However, there are times when I am challenged by another personality in front of me that I feel uncomfortable with, or I'm not comfortable with what I'm hearing them say. And so, as a gentle, detached, compassionate observer listening, so I have to keep making sure I'm being kind to myself so I stay stable, unshakable, immovable, and yet open-eared listening. 2 ears we have, turn them into a heart. Yes, so the ears, 1 mouth. So listen, deep inner listening. So rather than external listening, listen within. That's magic. And so there'll be something, a grain of sand within what is being projected at me. Remember projection, look back at that diagram later. And don't take the sorrow. Do not take the judgment. However, maybe there is a grain of truth that I can then reflect on later that's helping me to grow and evolve and develop. I've discovered that those nearest and dearest to me, that at times the love flows and other times it's like, actually, they are a gift to me. My mother said when she was alive, and when I would say, why are you criticizing me? And she said, and she was much shorter than me, she would say, looking up at tall Masana, and say, Masana, if I don't tell you, who is going to have the courage to tell you the truth? And at the time, I didn't like to hear that. However, later I began to realize, as I began to become more honest with myself and follow this spiritual path, that I really appreciate when someone is honest with me. Of course, I appreciate it more when they say it with love, even though it can be uncomfortable. Yet it's been great learning for me. And then it's my responsibility to do the inner work. So I believe it's time for a meditation. I hope we can have one of the other songs played as well. Maybe You're Always Changing. So if we could have that after the meditation, that would be lovely. And I'd like you to all prepare yourself for meditation. And this one is some forgiveness phrases. And to think of the word forgiveness in forgiving to self first before I can give to others, right? So bear that in mind. Take some deep cleansing breaths. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Breathe in peace slowly. Breathe out peacelessness. Breathe in compassion slowly. Breathe out tension. Breathe in a beautiful color. Allow it to flow through every cell of the body. Bringing more gentleness, compassion, relaxation, creativity, and light. Now gently, gently take your attention away from the body. The body is the sacred, temporary temple for I, the soul. Take your attention up to the center of the forehead, where I, the soul, resides. Tiny point of light, eternal, cannot be seen by the physical eye. Gently, as you focus on the screen in front of you, allow the vibrations of gentleness, compassion, kindness, stillness flow towards you, around you, and through you. And as part of the healing, I'm going to share some phrases on forgiveness. For any way that I have caused harm to myself through judgment, action, self-blame, indifference, knowingly or unknowingly, in thought, word, or deed, may I forgive myself. May I allow myself to be a student of life and to make mistakes. May I forgive myself. And if I cannot do so in this moment, may I be able to forgive myself in the future. for any way that life has caused harm to me or other beings, directly or indirectly, in thought, word, or deed. May I have forgiveness as my intention. May I let go of wanting the present moment to be anything else than it is. May I allow mistakes and injuries and pain to be a part of life. May forgiveness naturally flow through the pain and suffering of the final settling of accounts. And if I cannot find the forgiveness in this moment, may I be able to feel forgiveness in the future. Om Shanti. Gently, gently take another deep cleansing breath. Become aware of either soul sitting in the center of the forehead, sitting in the body, in the chair. Gently bring your attention back to this present moment. And if we could play the song, You're Always Changing, and keep this as a meditation as well.
I'm always changing. Who I was yesterday is gone. Embrace who I am today and let go of who I was before the dawn. Take only what I need with me. Leave behind hurtful memories. Once I have learned all I can, I can't keep carrying my pain with me. Every moment, every day, I'm always deciding how I want to live, who I want to be. I'm always changing. Who I was yesterday is gone. Embrace who I am today and let go of who I was before the dawn. I'm always changing. Who I was yesterday is gone. Embrace who I am today and let go of who I was before the dawn. Whenever I get stuck in my life, I ask what I could do right now instead of why. Can't let my fears define my journey. And I gotta forgive myself for when I don't feel worthy. Every moment, every day, I'm always deciding how I want to live, who I want to be. Yesterday is gone. Embrace who I am embrace who I am today, and let go of who I was before the dawn. I'm always changing. Who I was yesterday is gone. Embrace who I am today, let go of who I was before the dawn. I'm always changing. Who I was yesterday is gone. Embrace who I am today, let go of who I was before the dawn.
Shanti. So thank you everyone for your participation and your attention, and lots of love as you continue on your journey, becoming a bright light yourself and for the greater good of all.
Thank you, Sister Masana. That was really a wonderful meditation experience, wonderful song. It really showed how, we change, and today and tomorrow is not what was yesterday. So wonderful. And wonderful audience we have all with us today. And we had 3 lovely sessions with Sister Masana. And in the future, we may have more. We don't know. So if you have missed the previous, you can always catch it on YouTube. And this one will also be on YouTube. And with that, everyone can switch on your cameras and wave and say goodbye till we meet again. Thank you, Sister Masana. Thank you all,
Thank you,
wonderful
Sister
audience.
Masana. Put on the
Yeah.
gallery mode and you see everyone.
Yes.
Thank you.
You got the gallery?
Thank you, sister. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Om Shanti.
Shanti.
Yeah.